everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. Today's topic is an introduction to yoga with our platinum sponsor, the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. I am Robin Keogh. I am the Acting Executive Director of the Federal Employee Education and Assistance Fund. Wellness Wednesdays are part of the Feds in Motion Challenge, which is an annual event that supports FIA's work. We have helped more than 60,000 feds in our 36 years serving federal employees and their families, and you can learn more about all of our programs on our website at fia.org. We could not put on the challenge or do any of what we do without our community of federal employees and supporters. And that includes today's platinum sponsor, the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association. Blue Cross Blue Shield has been supporting FIA for our entire 36 years. And in addition to sponsoring the challenge, they've also helped us expand both our tutoring and emergency hardship loan programs in the last few years, which allows us to serve more federal families in their times of need. It is my great pleasure to introduce today's sponsor host, a man who is a friend to FIA and feds, both personally and professionally, Blue Cross and Blue Shield Senior Vice President, Government Programs, Bill Breskin. Bill?
Thank you, Robin. Very, very much appreciated. And it's just a humbling and just lovely opportunity for us to work with FIA. As Robin mentioned, we've worked so many years with FIA because FIA works so much with you and is so focused and committed to your well-being, just as we, the Blue Cross Blue Shield federal employee programs, try to stay committed and focused on your health. The old expression has never been more true, is it? Which is, if you have your health, you have everything. And certainly in the last 2 years, we've learned that. And as we come out of the pandemic and back into a world where there's more freedom to do things, including exercise, we hope everybody will take this as an opportunity to be able to increase the amount of activity they do. I know personally, I've enjoyed doing a number of activities that FIA has sponsored, including yoga, and have found it incredibly beneficial. And there really is nothing like the feeling of feeling like you're in better shape, feeling more focused, feeling like you can step away from things for a second. And yoga does all of those things and more. So the other thing is I'm really thrilled that Emily is joining us. I've heard Emily do this before, and she really does an extraordinary job and will, I think, really make this experience enjoyable. And I think will motivate you to want to keep going forward. So again, I'm honored and thrilled to be able to be a part of this. I hope you enjoyed a great deal. And once again, thank you for letting us be part of this.
Thank you so much, Bill. It's now my pleasure to introduce Emily Straight, who's been teaching flow and gentle yoga for more than 15 years. She believes that yoga is for everybody and strives to offer classes that are inclusive, non-competitive, challenging, and fun. I am really looking forward to learning from her today. So without further ado, take it away, Emily.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here again, and I'm grateful. So yes, I am going to do a little introduction to yoga. And so the first thing I just wanted to speak for a moment on what yoga is, and maybe even what yoga isn't. So yoga can be a physical practice, which we're going to do today, which can involve some strength and some stretching and some breathing. And also yoga is philosophy as well. And we're not going to touch on that too much today, but I would introduce you to the first ethical guideline of yoga, which is do no harm. So as we move today, if there's something that you're feeling, because you know your body better than anyone else, and I want you to trust that doesn't feel right, I'd prefer you not to do it and try something different. But I've designed today's class to be pretty accessible. I've got a chair here near me, because a lot of what we're doing could be done seated, it could be done standing, or it can be done on the ground. And I'll walk you through that as we move. But before we start moving, I'd like you to have just a few moments to leave behind whatever maybe you were doing before this and settle the mind and settle the body. So I'd encourage you, if you feel comfortable doing it, to close your eyes. And then we're going to take 3 cleansing breaths. So you take a deep breath through the nose for this. And you'll just let it go. maybe a sigh it out. And let's do that 2 more times, inhaling. And letting go, release, release, release. Letting go of tension in the face and the shoulders. And then one more time. And release and let go. And then we're going to take a moment to just feel how we're sitting. So again, eyes can be open or shut. But first, just maybe wiggle a little bit side to side on your seat. And you'll feel these bones that you're sitting on. They're called the sits bones. And just try and even yourself out there. And then go ahead and lengthen through the spine from that space, almost like someone was pulling a little rope from the top of your head to the sky. And then we're going to align our ears with our shoulders. And that way our spine can do more work in holding the head up. Basically the opposite of what many of us do at our desks. And when the spine does the work, it means the shoulders don't have to do as much work and they can relax. So just take a moment and notice how it feels to sit this way upright. And we say open-hearted in yoga. So the chest is broad. And when the chest is open, the heart is open, we breathe a little easier. So let's go into a little bit of attentive breathing. So bring your hand to the center of the chest, the heart center, we say. And just start to feel how the body feels when it breathes. So notice how the front ribs expand. And as you exhale, they move back in towards the body. Just noticing that for a couple breaths. Nice and slow. We're very patient with the exhale. Giving yourself all the time you need and to slowly, slowly let all the air go. And when we do that, it means we've created space to fill up. And you probably are starting to notice, or at least I hope you are, it's not just the front of the chest that is expanding, it's the side ribs. So you might even put your hands on your side rib cage and feel that. Filling up completely and letting go softly, but completely. And you'll hear me breathing. That breath of mine will cue you to breathe too. And then perhaps you place that hand back on the chest and then take the other hand and just flip it around, palm facing back on the back ribs, and notice how that part of the back body is breathing. And when we breathe deeply like this, you'll also hear or feel the belly expanding. You'll feel the belly expand. And this type of breathing calms the nervous system down. So if you do nothing else today but sit and breathe slowly and fully and deeply, you'll still be doing yourself a great favor. Just 3 minutes of this a day could change your whole day. And our lives are made up of days, so maybe even change your life. Good. And then when you're ready, just open your eyes. Nice. Now we're going to combine that breathing with some movement. And this is called Robin's breath. Again, you'll hear me breathing, but you're going to start with your hands right here, heart center, in a prayer type of position. You'll inhale here. The next thing I'm going to have you do is what I call a Charlie's Angel mudra. So release the forefinger and thumb. All right. And then you'll press away and curl your spine, tuck your chin into your chest. Just reach really far. That's your exhale. And then an inhale, you're going to come up like a cactus arm. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, open up the chest. You might even lift the chin if that feels good. And then you'll exhale and bring the hands back to start. Good, let's do that with the breath. Inhale. Slow exhale, press away. Deepest inhale, open up. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale. Slow exhale. Inhale, nice and broad. And exhale, hands touch, and you can feel them touching. Inhale. Exhale. Open yourself up. And hands to heart. Last time. Open up. And then exhale, nice and slow, hands to heart. Maybe close your eyes for a second. Just stop and notice any micro changes in the way that you're feeling. And if you don't feel any micro changes, don't worry about it. It's fine. and then gently open your eyes. So we did a little bit of flexion and extension in the back here. We're going to do a little bit more with a seated cat and cow. I'll show you from the side for a moment. So inhale, just puff up the chest, the armpit chest right around here. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then exhale, big round and curl like you're rolling around a beach ball with the torso. Inhale, heart open. So again, this can be done seated. You could do this standing. And you could do this in a chair. You can also do it on all fours, which I'll show you later. So a few of these, read the back going in these two motions. And there's 4 other directions we're going to take the spine. So let's do this for 2 more goes. You're going to inhale as the heart pulls forward. Exhale as you round and curl. Good. 1 more. And exhale. Good. We'll swing around back to the front, and then we'll do what's called a moon salutation. So we're going to go to the side here. So go ahead and take your right hand up to the sky. Good. Left hand down, maybe on the fingertips, and just give it a big lean. And we're going to do this with the breath too. So inhale up and exhale over. Open up those side ribs through breathing. So the breathing helps with the stretching. It also, again, helps with calm the nervous system. So if it's sometime you're taking a yoga class where it's pushing you a little bit more, it's nice to calm the body down. Good. And then this time, let's just pause here. You might move the eye gaze up and down, just moving through the neck a little bit. See how that feels. Good. And then we're going to take hand to shoulder and just start to move the arm and the shoulder joint. Big circles here. There's synovial fluid in our joints that help lubricate the joints, like the WD-40 of the body, if you will. And you got to move it or lose it. So let's get that grease going in there. And then it might feel okay to you to even do this with a bigger lever load, just opening up the arm. If not, go back to the original. Good. And then circle the other way. Keep breathing. Inhale. And exhale. Notice if you've got some sticky parts, some places that you're rushing through, can you slow down and just notice? So yoga is a mindfulness practice, right? So that just means we're paying attention to the present moment on purpose without judging. Big lean again, and then inhale, come on up. We'll go over to the other side. Let's keep moving with it. So we sync up the breath a little bit. Inhale, slow as exhale. So this idea of moving through this with curiosity and kindness instead of judgment, I hope that liberates you a little bit so that you know that yoga isn't about what it looks like, right? Yoga isn't about how flexible you are. Yoga is just about being here and being present for what is. Stay here, inhale. Slowest exhale. Another deep breath in. And again out. And then we'll start some arm circles again, getting the joint moving a bit. And again, you've got that option to move that arm around, extend it, or keep it right there on the shoulders. Notice how I'm not crunching the top part of my body to face the floor, but I'm keeping it towards the wall in front of me. I encourage you to do the same. Circle the other way. And then inhale, come on up. Nice. So we've got 4 ways that the spine moves, right? So we went side to side, flexion and extension, and we'll take a twist. So let's start with just lengthening the spine. We always want to have a nice long spine. So again, thinking about like if you were in a tiny short room, you could touch the crown of your head to the top of the room, inhale up, and then go ahead and take the left hand, cross it over, and then the other hand can come behind you to help you sit a little taller. Inhale, and then exhale, a little twist. And I want you thinking of moving from the mid back up. Inhale, exhale, rather than the low back. So those of us who sit at a desk a lot, we get a little stiff through the mid back and up. And try and move from there. 1 more. Exhaling, a little twist, and then inhale right through center, nice and tall. Exhale, take to the other side. Breathing in. And exhale. So you might find that you're starting with the neck, taking that chin way back. I'm going to encourage you, instead of doing that for now, just keep your neck right in line with your sternum, center of your chest, and see if you move the sternum. Once you've got the sternum around all the way that you can, Then you can move the chin. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Just notice what you notice, right? What are you feeling? How does this feel different than the way your body normally moves, maybe? And then come on back to center. All right. So I know when I sit at a desk, a lot of times it's the shoulders that start to feel it. So we're going to work a little bit on that. You're going to take your left hand, and this might be different based on the body. If you're sitting in a chair, grip underneath the chair. You might sit on your hand itself. Some of you with longer arms will walk it out or behind you. And then inhale nice and long. And then you're going to take your ear to the opposite shoulder. Maybe you start to feel a stretch through the shoulder muscles and neck muscles. If you want to add a little more, you can take that right hand right to the left side chest. Just pull the skin and the muscle down a little bit. And when you breathe, it helps with the stretching. And then I encourage you to kind of play around with the chin positioning here. Right? We're all going to have a little sweet spot probably. So go ahead and explore that. It might be up a little bit, over, down. You could even pretend you're chewing the biggest wad of gum ever. That will assist with the stretch. Couple more breaths. Last one. And then come on back up to center. Good. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Remember, you have all the options you had on the other side. Taking that arm out or underneath you or even back. Ear goes to the opposite shoulder. Check and see how this feels first. You don't have to go any further. The body likes to move incrementally. Give it a chance to unwind. Good. Maybe pulling that skin down, maybe moving the chin, maybe even moving the jaw. I'm saying maybe a lot because I want to empower you to make these decisions for yourself. What's best for you for your body, but also like what's best for you in this moment right now. Our bodies are different day to day. So I want you to make those decisions that are right for you in this moment. And then inhale, come on up. Now this next piece you can do seated. I'm actually going to stand up just because I feel like standing up, but that is up to you. So if you are standing, come into just a parallel leg. We call this mountain pose. I'm going to take the arm across the body. And right now, all I'm doing is moving again that arm in the shoulder joint, kind of up with the elbow, down with the elbow, like a little rolling pin. And I'm going to do this like, I don't know, let's say a little bus adventure. And we're going to get off on different stops depending which one's right for you. So this is the first stop. If this feels good and right to you, you can stay with us. Stop number one. All right, stop number two. You can pull it all the way across, keep the neck long, keep the chin up. And then you can look over that opposite shoulder. Now breathe big. Good. Do another. All right, so that's another stop. You can stay right there. Otherwise, you can give yourself a little hug here, elbows up and out. Right? And I'm pushing my elbows out to puff up the back body right between the shoulder blades. And then I'm just going to breathe big. Feel that space expand a little bit. Slowest exhale. Deepest breath in. Good. So stay right there. Any of those bus stops we already stopped on, or we'll take eagle arms. So it might look a little like this. I have a strap here. You could use a long sleeve t-shirt or a towel, and that could kind of bridge the gap. Okay. So if you end up winning that Gaiam gift certificate, that may be one of the things you get. This is called eagle arm. So if you're in this one, press your elbows and your hands away from you and drop your shoulders down your back and take a breath in. Let's do one more breath with this. And then just, how about some arm swings? Just loosen that up. Good. All right, other side. Go ahead and start with that little rolling pin action. Elbow up and down, just getting some synovial fluid again, moving in there. And then over to the side. And drop the shoulders down, away from the ceiling, towards the floor, looking over that opposite shoulder, breathing in. Nice slow breath out. Do that again, 2 more times. One more time. Good. Stay right here. We get into this hug, and we're taking this gradually too. So even if you can go straight to eagle arms, I might encourage you to go bit by bit on this one. You might find that that eagle arms is just that much easier after you go through this little warm up. And then coming into eagle arms if you choose. Looks a little like this. A little pretzel-y. Breathe in. Breathe out. And again, don't be discouraged if your arms don't do this. You can practice your yoga entire life without doing eagle arms. It's fine. There's no yoga police. Breathe in. I want this practice to meet you wherever you are, which might mean for some of you, you do this standing on one leg. Make it a little bit harder for yourself if you want. Okay, lots of options. And then go ahead, release, relax, go. Good. So I'm gonna come onto the floor, tabletop position, but before I get down there, we're gonna do a little bit of core work. And for those of you who don't feel comfortable getting down on the floor, you can sit in a chair, but I just want you working on engaging the abdominal muscles, and that could be good enough for today. So what I would encourage you to do is a little inhale through the nose, take your hands to your ribs. And as you exhale, do it like a S breath, we call it. Hope that feels okay on the mic. And when you do that, you can feel the abdominal muscles start to engage, right? And you could just do that several times, all right? That's good. Otherwise, coming down to a tabletop position, all fours. And we were in a cow position earlier, like this when we were seated, and then we were in a cat position as well. This extension and flexion. I want you to come right here into neutral. And then you can do that little S breath here, inhale, and then and feel the core engage. It's not a really heated engagement. It's just good enough, all right? And then lift your right hand 1 inch off the floor. You don't have to take it out in front of you. First start here. Might surprise you that it takes as much energy as it does. And then if you'd like to get a little more heated in it, how about keep your torso, your shoulders, your hip all stable, nothing moving, but just the arms swinging around a little bit. Check that out. See how that feels. Good. Now, if you want to take it a little further, take the opposite foot. So left foot out behind you, right arm out in front. We're moving towards bird dog. Nose straight down towards the floor. And remember, we're not in extension. We've got our ribs pulled up and in. Oops, kicking my chair. And then extend that behind you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Take a break when you need to. And there's a habit here that some of us have of opening up the hip to the side of the room. So you want your knee and your hip and your toes pointed downward. Good, get a little longer, 1 more inch. And then exhale, release. Good, we'll do a little cat and cow in between. Inhale, exhale. Good, inhale and exhale. Come back to all fours. Nice. And then again, engage. Make sure you're in a neutral spine, right? I haven't dropped anything. You're pressing into your hand, and then an option to do a little bit of swing around here. And I just do this as an opportunity for people to realize that you can work the core without doing a ton of heated work. And you can get into the deep core muscles and really support the spine. Good, bring that hand down, go ahead and take that leg back and then up. And again, we're gonna spin those hips so they make sure that they face the ground, the navel faces the ground. And then if you want to, we extend the arm. So you could take a variation without the arm too. Breathe in. Slowest breath out. Good, notice if you're holding tension in the jaw, you want some space between the teeth. Good, get a little bit taller and longer, and then release. I'll give you a couple options here. You could do some hip circles. So if you're standing, you could just bring your hands on your knees and do some knee circles, right? Moving your hips at the same time. And then some people might like a little bit of a child's pose. So if the knees and the ankles are happy with you, you take your hips back and just release your head to the floor. If the head doesn't reach, you stack like 1 potato, 2 potato fists and rest your head. And some people's knees have been through some stuff. And for you, I'd encourage you to take the hips up higher, maybe bring the elbows onto the ground, just to find a position that feels kind of relaxing. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. Nice. And then come on up. Let's find our way to seated. One more time. So when we sit at a desk, there are definitely some places we've already touched on today that I'd encourage you to work with. So your shoulders, your back, loosening up your chest, because oftentimes chest muscles getting tight. Pull the shoulders forward. And also the hips. So we're going to start with what's called a figure 4 stretch. I'll take it to the side. I've got my right leg extended. This might be really difficult for some people with tighter hamstrings. You could slide a rolled up towel or something like that underneath your knee or a blanket. And then perhaps cross that foot so that the ankle bone is outside of the thigh. And then maybe a little forward fold. See how that feels. You need a little hamstring maybe and some outer hip on the side here. So this is nice for a couple breaths. And again, it might look like this or like this. You could do this seated in a chair or standing. And then let's go ahead and see if we can slide that heel closer. And you'll know the point to stop. Like I'd like you to feel a little stretch in here perhaps. And for some of you, that's going to be rear end right up next to the heel. And for some, it's going to be further away. And you could press that, not knee, but the thigh away from you a little bit for a little added stretch. But we're not trying ever to go to like 100% of a stretch, all right? The body, again, it likes to unwind slowly. So if we kind of hang out in that 85, 90% zone, maybe 95, like the body will shift for you. We don't want it in high alert. Good, and then undo. And so we're gonna do the other side. If you're on the ground, I encourage you to keep doing this. I'll show you some other variations of this sort of thing in a chair. So you know how to do that too. We'll cross the other leg up and over. And maybe a gentle little push down on the thigh. We started the other side with the leg extended. And then maybe you slide that foot a little closer. Maybe the chest comes a little closer. Again, doesn't matter what it looks like. I want you really feeling what's going on. So yeah, a little stretching, maybe even some discomfort in the muscle. It's okay, but nothing in the joints. Remember, do no harm. Good, and then also just want to show you that option standing. You could hold on to a chair or a wall. Same idea. You might start standing and then you could pop yourself down into a little bit of squat. Good. And then come on up. If you're standing, maybe just do a few hip circles. If you're seated, we'll just roll around this way. Either way, we're getting a nice little massage to the hips. Should feel pretty good. Okay, last bit. Let's stretch the hamstrings out a little bit more. So we'll take, let's take both feet out. Again, you can bend your knees. This doesn't matter what it looks like. I want you to feel a nice little 90% stretch here. I want you to be able to breathe in and breathe regularly or even more deeply than you normally would. If you've got something like a towel or strap, you can wrap it around the feet. And this can be done seated in a chair. Inhale, and then exhale. See if you can lead with the sternum, center of the chest forward. Again, you might be way up here. You might be down with your nose towards your toes. But what I want is you just feel a little stretch in the hamstrings. You'll be able to hold it with a little bit of calm, and the breath will help with that. One more. Nice, everybody. And then just release. Give the legs a little bit of a massage on the thighs. Again, you can do this standing or seated, just getting some blood flow going here. And if you can reach the calves, go ahead and do that. Ideally, this practice is one of kindness towards yourself. I would hate for you to show up and be saying to yourself, oh, I have to do yoga. I would like you to find the practice where you get to say, I get to do yoga. So it might not be the style I taught you today, and that's all right. There's so many different styles. You can ask me about that afterwards. But just a nice little massage to be kind to this body that served you really well. Good. And then let's come back to seated for a moment. Good. And then my yoga teacher always taught me that yoga isn't what you're doing with your body, but it's actually what you're doing with your head, well, in your mind, between the two ears. So the movement I'm going to suggest is another little massage. So just taking your hands, your fingertips to your forehead, like so where a hairline and the forehead would meet, and just give yourself a little, like you're shampooing that front of the part of the hair. And now I want you to pay attention. This is where the yoga comes in. You might even close your eyes. What do you hear? What do you feel? If it feels comfortable to you to go to other parts of your scalp, go ahead and do that. So closing the eyes if that feels good to you, and just listening. And some of you might even feel this massage somewhere else other than the head. Just imagine you're giving yourself the best shampoo you've ever had. Good, just another moment. And then hands come down by your side and stop and feel and notice. If we can build in a few moments throughout the day where we can just say, stop, feel, notice. I think we'll be living calmer, kinder lives. We can begin to give ourselves a chance to not just feel what our bodies are feeling, but feel our emotions, and then choose our reaction to those emotions. And this is what yoga helps us do. Just live a little more skillfully and kindly. Good, so I'm going to bring you into the last posture, which is generally done lying down on the back. However, if you prefer to stay seated, I'll lead you through like a guided relaxation. This is called Shavasana. I'm going to sit, but I encourage you to get in the most comfortable position you can get in, right? The best Shavasana you've ever had, certainly if it's your first one. And let's start with a couple breaths. So we finish the way we began. Take a deep breath in. And let it out through the mouth. Feel the body softening, letting go, letting go, letting go. One more time, just releasing, releasing, releasing. And then as you breathe in and out, feel the feet relaxing a little more. Ask the calves and the upper legs to soften a little more, give in to gravity. The hips, the low belly and low back softening. The chest and the upper back releasing. The shoulders, the arms, the hands, the fingers just melting. And then a softening around the face and the ears. So the forehead releases, the jaw releases, the tongue releases. And just for one moment, maybe bringing the slightest shape of a smile to the face, not to cover up if you're feeling something differently than that, but just as a reminder, perhaps to approach your day the same way you approached our time together, with a little bit of kindness. Starting with yourself and extending that to others. And I'd encourage you, if you can afford the time, to just stay right where you are, but otherwise just slowly, gradually move your way back up to seated. And once you're seated, I'll meet you with my hands, right heart in a prayer position, a traditional ending to yoga practice here, at least in the US, is a finish with a namaste, which means all that's good in me recognizes all that's good in you. Namaste. Thank you. Well done, you all.
Emily, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
As I was saying to you ahead of our practice today, it always reminds me that I need to find more time in my day. And I think one of the most important things that I got from you is that I don't need to have an hour or even half an hour. If I have just a few minutes, I could do one of the stretching and breathing exercises that you've shown us today.
Yeah, sometimes I do my yoga standing on one foot. I brush my teeth. Right? So if you can connect a couple good habits together, that's a nice way to do it. But yes, just a few moments is really all you need.
Emily, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what the most common different types of yoga are that somebody might find if they were going out in their own community looking for a yoga class.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I'd like to say that there's a yoga class out there for everyone. So there are yoga classes that you do nothing but lie down and do a guided meditation. That's called Yoga Nidra. But kind of moving up, I say, and I don't want to suggest that's not difficult. I think being still is really difficult for some people. But in terms of physicality, you could take a gentle yoga class. We just did a gentle yoga class, what I just taught you today. And that might involve doing a lot of floor work or standing up, but the idea is that it's slow and low impact and easy on the body. There's also restorative yoga, which is similar, but you just hold postures longer in these very relaxing postures, and the body unfolds with gravity and time. And then another popular class that you will find is something called flow yoga. It's also known as vinyasa yoga. It means the same thing if you see it on a studio's website. And that's a little more athletic, faster pace, although there are slow flow classes, which involves holding the body sometimes with more weight on your arms, like a push-up type of position, balancing postures, and breathing, much like we did today with movement with the breath. And so that would be flow. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more athletic, and you could look at that. And then even more so, there's power yoga, which is kind of flow on, I don't know, for lack of better words, steroids. And so a bit more of a workout, I guess I would say. So those are some basics. You'll also find there's a style called Iyengar, which is very, very alignment based. You hold postures much longer, and it's a wonderful way to learn about your body and how you move through the world physically. So those are some styles that I would encourage people to go check out.
We do have a question here from Nikki. Do you have any recommendations for online guided yoga programs if you can't get to a yoga studio?
Yeah, the pandemic has been hard, y'all, but one of the things that came out of it that was good is a lot of your local studios are having online classes, either live streamed or taped classes. And so like the first thing I would do is I always want you to support a small local business if you can. So if you can find a yoga studio near you to do that, I would recommend it. My studio is called Radiant Studio. We're based here in, you might hear a siren going by right now, but in Alexandria, Virginia, but the website is radiance-yoga.net. So you can find live stream classes as well as taped classes. And then you can find some classes on YouTube too. I hear that, and I've practiced a few of yoga with Adrienne's classes, and I also have heard good things about her from other people. So what's nice about a live stream class though, is that you've got a teacher looking at your body. If you choose to have your screen on, and particularly if you're new, I would highly recommend that.
All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today for the yoga class. Emily, thank you for leading us through another wonderful yoga practice. Really appreciate that.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Bill, thank you. Thanks to Blue Cross, everyone who's participating in the challenge. Thank you so much for joining us for these Wellness Wednesdays. Today is the final one of our 2022 series. So we thank you, and you'll be able to find this and all of our other Wellness Wednesday videos on our website at fia.org/wellness. Thank you.